I remember when I was just getting started, little old Dia in the elementary school, middle school classroom, right? I remember, you guys remember this? Your teacher would hand you like a little personality test or be like, find out which type of job you would have in the future, stuff like that. And I remember I'd always loved doing them because, I always thought it was cool that somebody could tell me, like with a few questions, like what type of person I was. I always thought, what? Like, this must be true because what else would I be getting? I don't know. I remember, I'd get back and be like, "Wow, you're very intelligent for your age," or it'd be like, "Wow, you have a lot of, you're gonna become a millionaire when you grow up," or something, stuff like that. It'd just be like a bunch of BS, honestly. I look back, but I remember I always like wanted somebody in a way to tell me like who I was or like what type of person I was. And now that I'm older and I can look back, I could see that I was legit. Like I didn't know who I was, so you know I trusted the adults, and I was just like, why don't they tell me who I am? And when they told me who I am, I would just stick with it. I'd just be like, yep, you know what? That's me. I'm the lazy kid who. Oh my god. I'm the lazy kid who, does his homework and is smart. But doesn't really apply himself whenever he wants to, whenever he needs to. That was basically me, or at least that's how I thought I was for a long time. And you know, I'm here. I'm now here, and I can tell you right now, that's all a lie, bro. I don't know what type of person I thought I was, but that was definitely not me. Like I am not that type of guy. At least, not exactly. There is certain truth. There is definitely some parts that they got right. Um, yes, I am. I guess people would call me, and I know my friends would say this too. That I am. I do have a brain on me sometimes. I can. I'm notoriously the nerd of the group, but not in an annoying way. In a more of like a. It's like yeah, just like I just be like they be asking me questions, and it's just like why don't you know this? And I'd be like, bro, I don't know this shit, man. Like why are you asking me? But I don't know. I remember just like always, and then I did definitely when I was younger. I developed an ego about it. I used to think I was more intelligent than I gave myself credit for. I used to get high A's and B's, and then me back then used to think, high grades mean you're smart, and if you have low grades, that means you're stupid. But we all know now that's not true at all. Most successful people dropped out of high school. Not most, but a lot of successful people dropped out of high school, didn't make it that far, and I spent my entire high school, middle school, elementary school scared about what my parents might say if I flunked a class or if I was tardy or late even one time. I only skipped one class in high school. I think one time, or was it twice? And it was because this is a funny story. It was because there was this girl in my. Well, first I had to describe the class. If you guys know, like there's like an office assistant class. I don't know if your high school might have it. I'm gonna die here, aren't I? But it's basically the attendance clerk would get a call that somebody's leaving home early, and you would just have to go deliver the pass. It was like a no credit class, very easy, and I really enjoyed it. And I remember the girl that was like with me. That was like it was me and one other girl. It was this white girl, and oh, and I remember I developed a crush about her. Well, back then, I'm honestly, bro, any girl I talked to, I would develop a crush over. So, me being the loner, that doesn't really know how to communicate. I just develop crushes really easily. But yeah, no. So this girl, she was really. I mean, she was cute, but honestly, she was a cool friend. and she was an intelligent person. So I remember, you know, me, I think the night before or something, I tried to like, I don't know. I guess I had tried to see like where she stood, and I was like basically trying to raise her up. And that didn't work. I fumbled, and she was just like, "Oh, I see you more as a friend." And yeah, no. Me being me, I was never the type of guy to like to hear that and be like, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna stay your friend. You know, we're good friends. You know what? Okay, maybe there's a chance we can start." Nah, man. I did that one time in middle school, and yeah, I learned my lesson to not wait on nobody. So you know, I took it on the chin and would be like, nah, and I would ghost. Yeah, I mean, ghosting isn't great, but you know, she'd be like, "Oh, we're still friends," and I was just like, "Yeah, no, I'm not doing that." So yeah, back to get back on track. First class, I remember I skipped class the first ever time, and I was scared shitless the entire time because I was like, "Oh my god, what if they get what if they get caught? I don't know, man." But nah, it didn't even fucking matter, bro. Like I just wanted to skip because I just couldn't see her, honestly, after she rejected me. I just couldn't handle like looking at her because like, oh my god, I just felt so awkward, and I knew. And realistically, I was the one making it awkward anyways. I remember for the rest of like we were talking for like the first half of the semester, and then the second half of that same semester, we just like were completely silent during the office class. And I remember the attendance clerk that was there. I remember she would like talk about how like we'd argue like we were, I guess, dating. Oh my god, it was some bullshit, bro. I remember that's how I thought like, oh my god, I'm so in. But yeah, no. Yeah, no, that's not how it works, buddy. I'm glad, though. I'm glad. Because, you know, I learned a lot. You know, I learned not to wait on nobody, obviously. But I also learned that just because you're having really good conversations with somebody and, like, you're really hitting off as friends, that doesn't mean you're dating, you know. That doesn't mean, you know, they like you. That means y'all are friends for right now. And that's how it should be. And then so that made me realize that, you know, you have to approach with the thought of can't approach somebody like as a friend and be confused why they're still treating you like a friend, basically. You know, if you approach a girl like obviously like with its clear intentions, or not even like that, I guess keep it ambiguous in the beginning. You know, don't really set the boundary. You know, just be like, hi, you know, talk, and then once you realize, you know, maybe you can start slowly, you know, introducing it. I guess that's like my style of it. That's how I guess, started talking to my girl. You know, we were sitting in class, and I was just, like, chatting to her. That's just because I wanted to start talking to people, you know? And, yeah, just one thing led to another, and then boom. Things just happen. But anyways, that's not really the topic of the video today. I'm sorry, y'all. I like to yap. The topic of today is, don't let nobody else define you, bro. Like, don't set that box that, hold on, cut. Don't put yourself in the box that somebody set for you, because you don't gotta crawl in that. You don't gotta be that type of person. You know, you get multiple types of friends, multiple types of people telling you, you know, you're this person. You know, you're the, like me. You're the nerd. You're the quiet guy. You're the freaking. You're not that guy, you know, all that stuff, you know? You could hear all those stuff, and, well, that could be partially true. Well, yes, you know, maybe one time you were too scared to ask her out. Maybe one time, yeah, you couldn't imagine yourself at a party. Maybe you couldn't imagine yourself, you know, going out, or you couldn't even imagine yourself just, like, taking care of yourself. That doesn't mean you can't start doing that. That doesn't mean you're like immune to it, or that doesn't even necessarily mean that, you know, that you deserve to be like that type of way. That you deserve to be in such a negative feeling, you know. Guess that's really the message I'm trying to put out. And you got to search for yourself, you know. You can't just expect, you know. You can't just expect yourself to wake up the next day and be like, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and when I'm doing it. Nah, that's just not how it works, bro. In my experience and my opinion, you know, you learn how to do stuff by just doing it. And not even like that, bro. You just learn how to do stuff because, well, like, you feel like you need to, in a way. You know, like I've said for many times, you know, this YouTube journey's always been in the back of my mind. I guess when I was younger, when I think about it, I always thought, oh, it'd be fun, it'd be cool, you know, imagine getting paid to play video games while talking at a screen. And, you know, that's how it starts, but then you slowly watch more videos, like, wow, people have these insanely tight-knit communities, and, you know, people get stuff done, and like, wow, like, real things can happen from, like, you know, just talking on the internet. And that made me realize, like, wow, like, maybe I could do something one day. And that was, like, probably, like, 10 years ago, or, like, 8 years ago, something like that. And then we slowly get to the present of me just being like, maybe I could try. And that's really the main part, you know, just trying. But the hardest part of all of it is just to keep going back. Honestly, like, the first time you do something, I feel like it takes you the longest to go back to, in a way. Like, if you do something for the first time, and let's say you go to the gym, right? I'll take me. Like, I got the Fitness Connection membership, bro. Do not get no Fitness Connection membership and only go 3 times a year, bro. That's what I did. It's the first time, you know, got the membership, went like the next week. Didn't even go like the next day. I went like the next week because of like some BS excuse. And I was like, all right, let's go. Let's get this. You know, I'm going to be ripped. I'm going to be, oh my God, by the time the summer comes, you know, I'm just going to be him. Lie detected, bro. I had never been in the gym before that moment, so how was I going to put all these expectations on me, you know, all this BS, you know? And lo and behold, that's why I only lasted about 3 days out of the year. How much money? $20 a month time. What's 20 times 200? Like $240. Damn, now I put it in that perspective. Jesus, I spent $240 to not go to the gym. Yeah, nah. You know, I couldn't expect myself to just stick to that gym routine. And I feel like now, if I go again, I'm a hold a lot less to me. You know, in a way, like, limit the rules. You know, you don't have to keep yourself confined to such high standards, because, you know, we're very picky on ourselves. Let's not beat around the bush. We're our biggest enemy. We're our biggest op. We're our biggest critic. And I'm my number one hater. I'm not gonna lie. I'm my number one hater, and that's why nobody really can say stuff to me that phases me in a way. Because I've probably said it worse to myself. But, you know, just if you're like starting the gym just like me, and you're like, I don't know, I've never been here, I actually have no idea what I'm doing. What exercise am I supposed to do? You know, what diet am I supposed to do? You know, what am I even supposed to do? Like, what am I doing? Slow down. You know, just slow down for a second, yo. At least that's my mindset, because, you know, just keeping yourself worried, preoccupied with all these small little questions. You know, sure, you might see them as doing good, but really it's just keeping that anxiety up and up and up and up, and really that's all that fear builds up, and it leads you to I mean, I don't even know what I'm doing, so I might as well just not go today. Or, man, I had a hard day the other time. I was curling and I injured my arm. True story, by the way. Oh man, maybe I don't want to go to the gym for a little while. Which is okay, I guess. You know, fine. You hurt yourself. You messed up. You can recover, I guess. But how long are you going to stay down? How long do you want to stay down? Are you even going to get back up? If the answer to that is no, then why'd you even start in the first place? Well, you started in the first place because you wanted to change something, idiot. And that's the thing. We want to change ourselves so bad. We want to, you know, be our perfect person. And yet, whenever the work is required, we fail. Yeah, we fail. We probably fail a lot. But I think failing is a part of the process. And it's It's necessary. You need to fail. You can't just get everything done the first time. You can't record the perfect video right now. Like I've scrapped multiple videos already, and I've probably uploaded a few that I'm not entirely proud of. But you know what? It's me, and it's me learning right now. I don't know really what type of videos I'm gonna put out in the future, or what type of content I'm gonna be doing soon. I just know that I'm enjoying this right now, and even though it's not the best work on planet Earth, I'm having fun, and that's all that matters. And I feel like if you can just apply that mindset somehow to the things you want to do, or the things you feel like you need to do in a way. If I could just like enjoy the gym when I go, you know, just go in, just be like, man, I'm not gonna worry about what work is I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna do whatever I feel like doing, and then just head home whenever, you know, I'm ready. And just, you know, put on some Lil Uzi, you know, maybe put on some, what would I be feeling? Put on some Lover's Rage, or maybe put on some Tame Impala, you know, put on some Inner Speaker, you know, some good stuff. And just get that grind set going. I feel like that's what I would do. At least that's what I think I would do. Woo! But yeah, no, man. It's crazy. It's crazy how much how much standards we hold ourselves to. And it's fair. It's fair. Because, you know, we want to be good people, or at least we want to improve. And improving isn't easy. And improving is hard, and improving sucks, and it takes work, and it takes effort, and it takes you getting up off your butt, and it takes you, takes you feeling like crap for a little while, and it's just like, oh. But I tell you what, you feel like crap doing something, right? Yes. But I'm telling you not doing it is going to make you feel so much worse than you actually just doing it. Oh, messed up. You know, because we just worry so much. We care so much, yes. But it's like we got to do it the right way, or we're not doing it at all. And that's not right. That's not correct. That's not a healthy way of doing things. At least a healthy way of doing things that'll benefit you. Sure, you can keep yourself in this box. Sure, you can stay how you've always been, you know. Keep it safe, you know. Just do what your parents are telling you. You know, just take that office job, you know. It's secure, it's safe. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But I have a feeling that that's not what you want to do. I have a feeling that you don't want that to be your future. You know, sure, it's cool. Sure, it's fun. Sure, it's alright, but do you really want to do that, man? Or do you want to achieve something great? Achieve something that matters. And achieve something that, you know, you can say that's yours. I think that's important. And that's what I want for everybody and myself. Alright, y'all. This is Dia. I hope y'all having a good morning, afternoon, night, whatever. I just want you guys to have a good one. And honestly, I know my last video was a little down and it was a little sad, but I'm feeling pretty good today, you know. It's been a good day. Alright, y'all. I'm gonna catch y'all next time. Deuces.